All right, we're live. Let me get Instagram going live as well. Should be able to click the go live button here.
There it goes.
Oh, here it's previewing. Yep, there we go. We're good.
Works.
And go live. And then we will be able to.
Hello, everybody. If you
Okay,
are
cool.
here, hello. So,
Hey, y'all.
I have been censored a lot lately. And
Ugh.
so, what does this mean? This means that I'm going to start going live more. So, I'm one of those type of people that when I get censored and shut down, it causes me to do more. It causes me to do more out of anger.
Kelly gets mad.
Yeah, yes. Is anyone else motivated by anger? Because that's me. Like when I get mad, that's when I feel inspired to post. And yeah, I got shut down on Instagram. I grew by 100,000 followers on Instagram in 3 months. Yeah, that's pretty good growth. And then they got me on a post about Biden flying in illegal immigrants. So last year, Biden had a program where he was flying in illegal immigrants, and they were able to apply on an app to fly into this country into 43 different airports. And I shared about this.
Just shared the news story.
And I said, and because I said that it was a secret program, they said it was false information and took my post down and then stopped me from being able to be seen anywhere public on Instagram except for people that already follow me.
Yeah.
Now, this program, it was a secret to the American people. Did you know that Biden was flying in 300,000 illegals last year from January until December?
Yeah, it was a news story.
So, but they said because the program wasn't actually secret, it just wasn't, we didn't know about it. The American people didn't know that he was doing this, right? So I'm just really frustrated. So what's going to happen is Joshua and I are going to start doing regular lives again. We used to do this all the time on Facebook. Like 3 years ago, we would do regular lives and talk about what's going on in the world.
Back when Kali had a tiny following.
Yes. And just, everything that's been going on in the crazy country and give our advice and all of that. And we're going to start doing it again because I can't stand being silenced. So, yeah. So everyone's saying they didn't know that he was flying in people. So his excuse for flying 300,000 illegal immigrants into 43 airports in this country was he was trying to relieve the ones that were flooding the border and seeking asylum.
So there wouldn't be a crowd at the border.
Yes. Yeah. So we wanted to talk about TikTok.
Yes, the TikTok ban, because that's the current news. Yeah.
And then we want to talk about the border.
The border, yes.
And then we want to talk about...
There's a few
other stuff,
a few other stories. Yeah.
So mainly...
Contagion.
Oh, so, yeah, we'll talk about that later. Yeah. But so let's start with TikTok. Okay. So let's rewind to when TikTok first came out. So I was a public school teacher when TikTok first became an app, and it was mainly used by high schoolers. Nobody above the age of 18 was using TikTok. Yeah. And I remember being very annoyed with it because I was concerned. First of all, it was all of a sudden this it was normal to watch like 8-second videos. That was the whole thing, was to watch these really short videos. And my students were addicted to TikTok. And I'm like, what is this TikTok? I'm never going to get this app. It's stupid, right? And it was only being used by young people. But then business owners started realizing that the algorithms on TikTok and the For You page made TikTok very lucrative for their business compared to other online platforms. It was much easier to go viral on TikTok.
Yeah, we actually got a lot of business from TikTok. And originally when we opened our business, I was going to do like the traditional type of like Google ads and stuff. And I tried it. And it was like a viral TikTok video for free was way more worth anything else. So
than like paying for Google ads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of businesses that have been able, and people that have been able to create their followings from TikTok. There's a lot of problems with TikTok. I personally think it's degrading our society.
Yeah, it is a train
Yes,
wreck.
it's a train wreck.
And it's designed to be.
But there's a lot of business owners that rely
crap.
on TikTok for their advertising, right? So Trump was the first one to really kind of talk about a TikTok ban when he was president. And I remember my students freaking out about it because, and saying that, this app is possibly being controlled by the Communist Party. And here's the thing, there's some people that are denying that the Communist Party in China is controlling the app, but you got to remember that China is a communist country. In communist countries, they control the businesses one way or another. Their fingers, the government is involved in a lot of business there. That is the model of communism. So of course there is there's directions and directives happening from the Chinese Communist government. They may not be the actual owners of the app, but TikTok is controlled by China, Communist China, because that country has a lot of control over all of their businesses. And of course, the business that's influencing millions of people in America is going to have some sort of ties to the Communist China's party, even though it's technically not owned by them. So Trump was in favor of a ban, but now he's actually changed his tune on that. And he had a statement that he recently said where he's like, no, we don't want to ban TikTok because you know what this does is it gives more power to Facebook and Meta, which is the enemy of which is an enemy of the people because they censor the right. They collude with the Democrat Party. And so we need to be careful about banning TikTok because we're just giving more power to Facebook, even though he says that TikTok is a security threat. And then we have this bill, which you can explain more about the bill.
Yeah. So, I mean, anytime the thing that gives me a big giant red flag is that anytime the uniparty all agrees on something, if Nancy Pelosi is cheerleading for something, it's a problem. And just without even getting into the details of the bill, realized how quickly it's been rushed. Like it was introduced. This wasn't even a story a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
It was introduced and within a week, it's like, boom, it's passed the House. Pelosi is screaming for it. Biden's saying I'll sign it. And then boom, it's going to the Senate. It's being pushed like a week. And we're already to the point where we're talking about banning social media apps. And there is a lot of
Congress
concern.
that literally can't pass anything, right?
Yeah, can't pass anything else. Nothing can get passed. But all of a sudden, the uniparty comes together and it's kumbaya and let's pass this bill. So here's the thing, and here's some quotes from the bill. I won't read long quotes. I'm not going to bore you guys. But the definition, because you guys have probably heard the idea, basically what it says in the bill is that if a app is owned by a foreign entity, it can be banned. And so people are raising the red flag and saying, well, it's a little vague. Does that mean other apps? Are you going to ban X next? Okay, just reading. This is from Viva. He's got a good post on. He said, just reading the definition of controlled by a foreign adversary. That's from the bill. Controlled by a foreign adversary. It reads, a person subject to the direction or control of a foreign person or entity. Now, that's a quote from the bill. Take the logic here. They say, remember, the Democrats are insane, and they say that Trump is a Russian asset, that he's controlled by Putin. That's laughable. You're laughing, and it's crazy, but that's what they say. So does not this language theoretically allow them to say, look, Truth Social is connected to Trump. Trump is controlled by Putin, which is insane, but that's what they say.
So this is the same government.
Right?
This is the same government.
So we're going to ban Truth Social.
Yeah, this is the same government that does not care that our meat packing industry
is ran by China.
So most of our meat is packed in China.
Does
not care that most of our pharmaceuticals are made in China. Yeah. You know, the drugs that you take for your diseases or whatever. Yeah. Made in China.
Yeah, remember the pandemic where we couldn't get antibiotics?
That China is buying up the majority of our farmland, along with not Elon Musk, but Bill Gates. But all of a sudden, they want to ban TikTok. And in this bill, it doesn't even mention TikTok. It's just about controlling the App Store.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what Communist China does. So Communist China actually controls the App Store and what their people can look at on the internet.
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to bring here in the US.
Yeah. And I mean, come on, guys. It's happening in an election year. Mm-hmm. I mean, are we this naive? So basically what it's boiled down to, because there's a debate on the right. There are some people on our side, some people on the right saying, the left is all whatever the great leader wants, they'll go along with it. But on the right, there's a debate. Some are for it, some are against it. Rand Paul's against it, Trump's against it. There are some others who are for it. I think like Josh Hawley, people who are kind of respectable on the right are for it. So there's a debate. And right now the debate has boiled down to the people who are against it say, look, this is way too broad. This can be used by the president, meaning Biden, to ban any social media app that they want.
They want to go after X.
Just by saying that it's a national security threat.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who are for it are saying, nah, I don't think they will. And so basically what we've come to a stalemate, and we'll say, oh, we'll see. So you mean to tell me that a law that's going to potentially just like shut down the First Amendment when it comes to social media, which is the means of communicating today during an election year, we're just gonna, well, let's pass it and see if it shuts everything down. like if there's any chance that it's that dangerous, don't pass it. What's the good side? What would make it worth that?
Yeah.
You know, like nothing is going to make it worth that. And like you said, I mean, we're not doing all this other stuff when it comes to China controlling
meddling
everything
in our country,
or even the other Google and Facebook. We know that these companies are all anti-American and horrible. We're only, what are we doing? So
the other thing is that TikTok. Now, TikTok, on the other hand, I am not a fan of TikTok. I've been fully banned on TikTok 9 times. I
got banned once and I gave up.
Yeah,
she didn't.
My
give up.
accounts have been taken down 9 times, and so I have to build back up there. And the reason why I stay on TikTok is the young people are there. I think TikTok and Facebook and Meta and all of them are equally evil. They just are. They're just all evil. And so, but I do want to reach people on these websites. Now, TikTok has when you open up your TikTok, they were sending to every single TikTok user to put in their area code, zip code. Which one's the one that's your house?
There's
area code and there's zip code. Zip code. There we go.
Which I didn't get that, by the way.
I
heard about that.
No, they put in your zip code so you can get your congressman's number or something like that.
Yeah,
we can't do it.
They were making it easy for you to find.
Yeah, so that you could call. And actually, Congress has been flooded with calls right now. The most. So TikTok did a campaign on that, and they're saying that it's a violation of free speech to shut down TikTok. And I'm like, you jerks. You guys have silenced me 9 times.
I know. It's ironic because like we hate TikTok to one degree because they are the worst.
A censorship.
You can we didn't like the way you farted on your video, so you're
we did an ad sharing our school. Anytime shut you down
for any reason.
Little thing. Yes,
violation. And
yeah.
like their process of appealing it is a joke.
Yes.
I had a following that I grew that was decent, and they just shut me down, and I just gave up because it was like there was no rhyme or reason to it. It's even worse than the others. But you can also potentially grow way faster than the others.
Yes,
that's their strength.
Yes,
which somebody here in the comments already mentioned.
Yeah.
So they're horrible at censoring. But now we're kind of in the point where we're defending them. But it's not really defending TikTok. It's more like, I don't want to give the government more power to control all of social media because that's what I'm worried this is going to do.
Yes.
So, TikTok's bad, but giving government more power, worse.
And that's the same thing that happened with the border bill.
Yeah.
So this border bill that was crushed by Republicans in Congress. They did not vote yes on the border bill. Some of them voted yes. The bipartisan border bill, it had a lot of things in it that weren't good. So, for example, Biden couldn't shut down the border unless there was more than 5,000 people entering every single day.
Yeah.
That's
joke.
Unprecedented numbers. I mean, I know we're getting used to having this rush of people at our border all the time, but that's not normal. We weren't like that until this last 5 years. And even then, Trump was putting a stop to it, but our border has been really bad for a while now. And so there was provisions in this. It was also going to make the pathway for people that cross over illegally, right? So people that come into our country illegally, it was going to make the pathway for them to become legal easier than people that actually work on coming to this country in a legal way. So if you are in China or you are in some other country, India, and you want to come to America, but you don't want to do it by just sneaking in and then working on getting your citizenship here, it's going to take longer for you than someone who just snuck in, right? Mm-hmm. And so that was also in that border bill. And it was basically going to create a permanent crisis. The other thing about the border bill is that Biden has the power to really, really shut down what's going on down in our southern border now already.
He already can, yeah.
So Think
Oh,
about.
and by the way, and I hate to be the reminder on this, but you do know that Speaker Johnson can shut it down right now too, right? Like the Speaker of the House, he could shut it down right now. He could just cut off the funding. He can, but he won't. So
I don't even
anyway,
know who Speaker Johnson is.
yeah. Well, the Republican Speaker
Yeah.
of the House.
Oh yeah. Okay.
He could use the budget to force Biden to shut the border. He could basically write in the budget, you have to do this, that, and the other, and he won't. Instead, he just funds the whole Biden agenda and gives him a blank check.
Oh.
And he refuses to. So.
Yeah.
Even though that's what Republicans ran on the last election. We're going to use the power of the budget when we get the House, and now they do nothing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So the border bill was junk. And that was the problem with it. And then on top of it, Biden, when he first came in office, he signed a lot of executive orders to reverse some of Trump's policies that were happening at the border to keep it from becoming a disaster like how it is now. And he could reverse those executive orders that he signed his first 100 days when he was in office.
Yeah.
And so it's just so silly right now. And we're going to hear a lot of rhetoric from the Democrats this next 6 months. It's going to be exhausting. If you're tired of everything right now, just get ready to be even more tired.
It's going to get worse.
Like start doing those double shots of espresso because this is going to be an exhausting 6 months.
Yeah.
Bernie just came out with Bernie Sanders. He just came out with a long video, an 8-minute video endorsing Biden. And in it, he calls Trump a xenophobe, a racist, a sexist. Yeah. He says that Trump, if you vote for Trump, it's going to destroy the world because of climate change. No, I'm not kidding. That's what he says. So that's going to be the whole thing. It's this fear. You have to vote for Biden. And in fact, Bernie starts with Biden's failings, but then he's like, but even so, you can't vote for Trump because it's going to destroy the world. Okay. And that's going to be the whole rhetoric right now. So it's your job to make sure you're telling the truth. Make sure you're telling the truth to your friends right now.
Speaking of
because they will wake up, at least the smart ones.
Speaking of destroying the world, y'all know Collie wrote a children's book about climate alarmism, and it's finally here. We have the book, and we are shipping them out, and it is for sale on BookBaby. So, children's book on climate alarmism. It's an allegorical farm story that debunks the whole, the sky is falling for climate change stuff, but does it in a way that kids and the whole family will enjoy.
Yeah, and it's not like a babyish book. It's one of those books that you want to read with your kid.
She doesn't brag enough about it. This book is actually really good, and I am a bit of a snob when it comes to art, and it's really good. It's a really good book to read.
It's just how some books are really babyish. This one's more like, my mom used to raise me on like Peter Rabbit books that have a little more substance to them. And books that are written in a way
that the parent will enjoy reading to the kids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
and you'll want to read it multiple times because it's not just fluff.
And it's a farm story. So it basically combats climate alarmism and giving away all your freedom because of the weather.
It's on BookBaby, bookbaby.com, their store. You want to buy it there. It's on Amazon, but I tell you guys, we make nothing. Amazon rips you off.
Yeah, they give you $3 a book.
Yeah. I mean, you could buy it on Amazon if you want, but we're not going to get any money. You're just paying whatever, what's his name. But get it on bookbaby.com.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. So we've done TikTok. We talked about the border.
Yes. So we have a few different news stories here, and I have a bunch of news stories, and I think what we're going to do is just go through them, and we can say
quickly.
Hey, do we want to talk about this or not?
Okay.
You can kind of stop me.
You guys can tell us what we should talk about too.
Yeah, there's a lot, obviously. This is clown world, but I don't know if you guys have heard the story of the woman at Planet Fitness, the gym, that claimed she went into a bathroom, the women's restroom, the women's locker room, and there was a man shaving there. There was a 12-year-old girl present. There was a man shaving there. And this is at an Alaska Planet Fitness women's locker room. The update is she has now had her membership revoked by Planet Fitness.
See, this is
speaking about this.
This is my problem with this. It's not just trans rights or human rights. It's now trans rights trump women's rights.
Or children's.
Yeah, or children's
little
rights.
Girls.
Yes. It's now, you better let these penises in women's bathrooms or you're going to get kicked out of the women's bathroom. If you're a biological woman, you can't go into that bathroom if you're not allowed unless you want to accept
bigot that doesn't want to see some strangers schlong.
Yeah, exactly. In the women's bathroom.
Yeah.
So and she's like an older lady. Planet Fitness, I mean,
What,
not the greatest gym.
yeah,
She
but
probably can't afford a better one, and here she goes getting kicked off
yeah,
because she
yeah,
went online and
yeah.
exposed
Or
the
maybe
fact
it's
that
the
there was
only
a
one
male.
available in
Yeah.
Alaska because it is Alaska.
Oh yeah,
They
it's
don't have
Alaska too.
options.
Yes.
But yeah, what's up, Planet Fitness? They should get
Boycotted.
boycotted.
Mm-hmm.
This is ridiculous. All right, here's Canada. Vehicle owners are being urged to leave their keys near the front door. So the idea here is when armed robbers come into your house, instead of Canada like dealing with armed robbers or letting the citizens defend themselves, they're telling their citizens, leave your keys near the front door, so when somebody comes to steal your car, it's easy for them to find them,
and then they won't come into your house and shoot you.
Then they won't shoot you, maybe.
Canada
just
got
take your
banned
car.
handguns.
Yeah.
So that's but the criminals still have guns. If they were warning, the police chief was warning them, saying these guys have guns that are going and trying to steal these cars. They just want your car, so make sure you keep your keys or your whatever you use to unlock your car close to your front door, so they can just get it quickly.
This is a good story. You hear about this one? The Boeing whistleblower. So he was sharing in court about it. And
what's up? Are they trying to collapse our airline industry so we can't travel?
It's like every day, literally every day, I see another story about another. I just saw one today. Another airline where it's like, I think it was in LA today, where they were forced. It was another Boeing, and it was American Airlines, and it was forced to ground the plane on emergency because it was there was a malfunction. The other one the other day was there was engine fuel coming out of the wheels. There was another one where it's like, what's going on? What do you think?
Be a little bit.
What do you think?
I personally think that just like cars, airplanes often have issues. They just do.
Yeah.
And I think that they might be inflating this in the news right now to bring fear.
Highlighting it.
Yes.
It's possible.
Because I think that maybe this has been happening for a while, and because there's so many flights and so many airplanes,
so
we're not hearing about it all the time, but now because the news picks and chooses what they want to scare you about.
That's
and
true.
For some reason, the news is trying to scare us about. I'm not saying that there probably is quality issues, but I think that's been happening for a while.
Here's the counter argument. I think what you're saying is true.
Yeah,
that's true. It's clearly they're covering the story. Mm-hmm. The counter argument, the barbecue, you guys, you guys are funny. Okay, so the counter argument is there is another video of of the engineers and the workers in Boeing, a secret recorded video where somebody's asking them questions and they're saying, I wouldn't fly in these planes. And there's video of them using like credit cards as like, to like, as like a tool. Like they don't have the proper,
But again, this must have been happening for a while,
and
but
they're
just letting
out?
us
That's true. It's
learn
true.
now.
It's true.
So yeah, Boeing mess, probably won't be able to fly, and within the next year,
I'm like, I want to get an RV and just start driving because I'm scared.
The point of it all, I think we're at a point where people need to make sure they're being prepared. This is the time to be smart. Joshua cleared out all of our top cupboards in our house so that we could have supplies.
Yeah, I'm
extra
a prepper.
Supplies.
There is no shame. I don't care. I'm a prepper.
There was a time when InfoWars was allowed to be on YouTube. Do any of you guys remember that time? What an amazing time.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
It was just Alex Jones on YouTube
for like
whatever.
Years, right?
Can I even say his name?
Yeah, I think you can. I'm not sure. But anyways, there was a time when I used to tune into that show every once in a while, especially because it came on the time when I was driving home from work. And I always like to know what this guy was saying. I never agreed with him 100%, but I did.
He was entertaining.
He was entertaining. Yeah. And also, there was a lot of stuff that did happen that he said would happen. Because I do think he has some intel with some of these globalists. Anyways, he used to always talk about prepping. There used to be a lot of like prepping advertisements. And this was like 5, 6, 7 years ago before he got severely censored.
Emergency food
and I used to be like, all right, like whatever. Like we don't need to prep. Guys, we need to prep.
Yeah. Yeah,
We need to prep.
I mean, hey,
Contagion.
we're Bible believers, and yeah, I don't want to talk about Contagion.
Yes.
We're Bible believers, and it's hey, you guys can have your own beliefs, but I will tell you, I personally believe the time is coming very soon when you will not be able to buy or sell, and I think
Even if
God,
you're not a Bible believer, that's
like,
really
it's pretty.
clear. Yeah.
All you got to do is look
I
at.
mean, they were already trying to do that with the vaccine passports.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. And you've already seen it. Any country that devalues their currency, eventually the economy collapses.
Yes.
So even if you don't believe the Bible, it's pretty
Venezuela,
clear what's going to happen.
that's coming here.
Yeah, that's coming.
Yeah.
I mean, our debt is raising by $1 trillion every 100 days.
Yeah.
That is unsustainable.
A piece of chicken in Venezuela was like $5 million.
It's
in compare with their
Learn
currency.
how to grow your own food.
It was nuts. It's nuts. I mean, there was piles of their currency in Venezuela just on as trash.
Yep.
Imagine if dollars are just I mean, how quickly that country collapsed. And speaking of Venezuela, one of our lessons in our enrichment program, which is now called Young Patriots Academy, is what happened in Venezuela.
Young Patriots Academy. Yeah, we have actually just rebranded our enrichment program, Young Patriots Academy. We give, if you have school-age children,
5th through 12th
grade, and you are tired of them getting indoctrinated by their teachers and by the media and everything, even if they're homeschooled or something, they're going to get
public school.
They're going to get it from their friends. They're going to get it from the movies, from the celebrities. They're going to get it from TikTok, whatever. Yeah. They're going to get it all over the place. They need the counter arguments against socialism and all this craziness.
I want to give them the counter arguments because I want young people to be able to influence other young people.
Raise up our own,
that are being the kids that are being brainwashed, we need to make sure our kids are able to help those kids, right?
Yeah. So our Young Patriots Academy, we do that. We give video lessons where we do you want to give the
Yeah, you can make a banner for it.
Oh yeah. Where we give the counter arguments to these crazy lessons. Kali has an excellent one on Venezuela and what happened
in Venezuela, what led to their collapse. So their system changed to socialism. And it started off so great, and everyone was they even had universal income of $1,000 of their currency, $1,000 for each person if they just wanted to not work, and tons of government programs. They took over in socialist countries. They take over private businesses, and so what it did is it stopped these businesses from production. These businesses had no incentive because they were no longer making crazy profits, because they took out capitalism. And so production went to a halt, and basically their economy collapsed really fast. Yes. And Venezuela used to be the most prosperous, richest South American country.
Yeah.
In fact, when they traveled to the US, when Venezuelans came here in the 70s, they were known as the buy two people because they would always buy two of everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now
so much money.
Their people are flooding our country.
And we understand this stuff. You may think as a conservative, I understand this stuff. But it's one thing to understand it as an adult. It's another thing to understand it as a young person.
Yes.
And so we put these conservative topics that counter leftist indoctrination into ways that kids can understand.
Yes. And, lots of visuals, lots of activities. Kids actually track inflation.
Anyway.
And they turn in their worksheets. So you can check it out at youngpatriotsacademy.com, and it's only $29 a month for on-demand lessons, and you can cancel anytime.
How do we get to that? We were talking about
Venezuela. Oh, prepping and everything.
Prepping.
So Joshua and I, we watched the movie Contagion. How many of you have seen the movie Contagion?
Just recently.
Yeah, because he's never seen it. And I saw it because I'm like the kind of person that when things are going bad, I like want to wallow in the badness. So during the pandemic, I watched Contagion, like at the peak of it.
I didn't want to watch it doing Contagion because I was not trying to freak out. I was like downplay it. It's not that big of a deal. And so I didn't want to watch it. I think I watched a piece of it. And I was
so if you haven't seen the movie Contagion,
go watch it now. Now that everything's over, go watch it. Okay. This freaked me out. Kali put this on this weekend. We watched it. And I was like, what are you doing to me? This is like right before bed. You're freaking me out.
So, I've never seen him so freaked out by a movie before.
No, the thing was, it wasn't the movie. It was how exactly it was just like what they did.
For COVID.
It was a script.
Yes.
They planned it.
So we got to be careful about how we talk about this.
Okay.
Because we still get censored, right?
All right.
So
we are on YouTube.
Let's just talk about the movie. So Contagion starts with...
Yeah.
It starts with...
You guys can connect the dots.
Yes.
But let's see what happened. So this in the movie, it's just in the movie. That's all I'm talking about. You guys can connect the dots. It starts in Asia, right?
China.
It comes from China.
Yeah.
It comes from a bat, right? Which is what they wanted us to believe.
Yeah.
But we
It's
now
animal
know,
origins.
right? Okay. What else? They said that the words social distancing,
which I've never even heard of.
No
before.
one heard of that before.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I'm being
And
hyperbolic.
there was 10 feet. Ours was 6 feet.
Yeah. They say 10. They say 10 in the movie, and then everybody's
masked
in the movie, right? Which, like, you watch the movie back before it happens and you don't even think twice, but now you're just like, you see all these connections. What else? There's a conspiracy theorist guy. Yes, Jude Law, the Jude Law character.
So there's a conspiracy theorist guy that they're trying to shut down. He's doing like an independent blog, and he's like telling people not to get the vaccine. And they basically arrest him.
That's in the movie.
And
we're just
he
talking
says
about
that
the movie.
he can cure it with something that's more natural and not the vaccine, right?
And the movie makes him out to be
a
this
fraud
a
because he made $4 million off of this cure,
and he was lying.
Yeah, and he doesn't even have the antibodies of getting the virus in the first place.
So he never had it.
Yeah.
So, but who is the good guy? So remember, there's a scene in the movie where the lady who originally gave herself in order to see if it worked, she ends up getting it. And she's dying on her deathbed. And there's another guy dying next to her on his deathbed.
Yeah.
And he says he's cold. It's
so this
cold.
high up government lady is just dying in like a FEMA
camp just kind of randomly, right?
Like these high up government types would be in some FEMA camp deathbed.
Yeah. And so she's right next to this guy. This is in the movie. We're talking about the movie now, guys. Okay, censors, we're talking about the movie.
Yes.
So she's next to this guy in the bed. And the guy's like, "Oh, it's so cold."
She gives him his blanket.
She's trying to give her blanket. She's
because the high up government CDC types are really good people.
The saints that are like on their deathbed trying to give you their blanket.
There's another CDC guy who's like, "I'm going to give my
black
vaccine,
guy, Lawrence Fishburne.
I'm going to give my vaccine to this low down worker's son."
Yes.
Yeah. Instead of giving it because it's like a lottery to get the vaccine, which is really scary.
In the movie. We're talking about the movie.
Okay. So the whole point of it is that's what they wanted it to be.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So in the movie, there's riots.
Yes.
And people are like burning down stores. People are running into your house, taking all your food, and then running out. Right. And I'm watching this movie and I'm like, that didn't happen during 2020.
Yeah.
That didn't happen at the beginning, right?
Yes.
But later, the Summer of Love happened. Mm-hmm. And I'm putting 2 to 2 together and I'm like, they wanted. That was in the movie script.
Yes.
And it didn't happen. Yes. Our society didn't do that. We were resilient enough now, granted, we did have like stampedes for toilet paper, which was stupid.
Yeah.
But we didn't have complete raiding, burning down the streets and all that. So that ended up
they riots.
Made that happen with the Summer of Love with George Floyd.
Mm-hmm. And if you were paying attention to the news during that time, they were stoking the fires of riotous behavior. They were just
were covering it up while it was happening.
They were covering
you
it up.
knew because of social media. Yes. You only knew, and so it basically to me it was like that's what they wanted.
Yeah,
that's what they wanted, and it didn't get as bad as they wanted.
Yeah.
So now.
So did you know, I just want to give a little fun fact about the Black Lives Matter protest. So you know how they tried to deny the fact that they did a ton of damages? Well, now that it's done, now that summer is over, that was the largest insurance payout to businesses in America's history. So the damage that was done at the Black Lives Matter protests was the worst damage that was ever done to businesses collectively in American history. There was that many insurance claims to get money because their businesses were destroyed by rioters during that time. And that's just coming out now, these insurance claims. I think it was around $2 billion in damage and insurance claims that happened because of the Black Lives Matter riots. And they tried to deny it. They tried to fact check all of that. When you shared that fact, now they can't deny it anymore because of the insurance claims and these businesses that were damaged during those riots.
They just move on. They just don't cover it
anymore. So yeah, they just cover it up. And they don't want us to remember how they triggered people to do that. So I mean, it was thousands and thousands of people taking to every major city, burning. And imagine if there wasn't any police protection. They were starting to tell police to stand down. And this is another reason to be prepared, America. because they can reignite. I mean, this new generation that they're raising up to be violent like that and to have an excuse to be violent, it's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. And right now we're getting a little break, which is great. I think we need to appreciate our breaks, but we
I'm
also need to be
expecting something
prepared.
big.
Yes.
So Alex Jones is predicting blackouts. That's what, and there's been multiple news stories. It seems like that is the next thing that they're pre-programming us to get ready for, which would be like a cyber attack.
It's not, the live's not working.
That's the false flag
on Instagram. That's okay.
It's not working on Instagram.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
It should be.
Oh, I guess it is.
Yeah, 77 people are watching.
Oh, okay. I don't see it on my end. Cool. Yeah.
I'll check on.
Because I'm just seeing the YouTube.
Maybe it's just because you.
Oh, so if you're on my Instagram watching this, I can't.
Yeah,
see...
you're live.
Okay, cool. I can't see your comments. I just see YouTube comments. So,
whoops.
So hello, Instagram people, if you're watching this. That's awesome.
This should be on X and both of our X's, her Instagram.
Okay, don't worry.
Yeah, whatever.
Let's move on.
So the Obama movie, right? They came out with Contagion, but the Obama movie
is about a blackout.
A cyber attack, and what would happen if they. So I think that's the next thing. They basically have figured out that we cannot shut these people down when it comes to just controlling social media through our regular censorship stuff.
And I think they've already worn out the virus thing. I mean, even the most diehard wearing masks, getting boosters, people are over it. Like there's a few left.
Yeah.
But everyone I know that was freaking out. Yeah. Everyone I personally know,
they're not going to get everybody.
They're not even getting the boosters. Yeah. They're not wearing their masks. It's going to be really hard to get people bought into that again. So they're going to move on to something else. It needs to be climate change, blackouts, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So the movie Obama did that he produced on Netflix, which I'm sure you guys have heard about, was the one that was, you're right. Was the one about Leave the World Behind. So the idea is like an EMP attack, and it takes out the power grid. And so your electronics are gone, and it's like chaos is caused. And from the chaos, you get like a dictatorship or something.
Yeah.
That's the idea. And Mr. Jones from InfoWars is pointing out that
not just him,
Yeah, a lot of people have pointed out that like the WEF has been putting out notices about this
blackouts.
It was just the blackout with AT&T like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I think what they've done is they've realized, look, we can't just control. If we control one stream, we control, Instagram and Facebook. Okay, now there's X, and now there's Rumble, and we can't just silence these people. What if we just shut it all down? And we do that during an election year, and then another switcheroo, another stealing. So we'll see.
And I think that's a good way to transition to our last topic, which is Trump.
Yeah.
So I am Trump's number one apologist. I will happily defend that man. And I've been defending him this last 2 years, especially I would call it DeSantis Gate.
Yeah. Remember that couple of months?
Yes. And it's interesting to me to see all of the influencers and the conservatives that were, remember about a year ago, they were all kind of bashing Trump, and it was really mean. They were standing like CNN.
Don't forget about that.
Some of them were saying that he's a, egomaniac and all this stuff. And now they're all back Team MAGA again.
Whiny little girl.
Yeah. They were now they're back Team MAGA again. Okay. That's cool. They woken up, but we have to remember that, what they're doing to this guy is unprecedented. And this is part of the reason why I will defend him is it's unprecedented action to try and stop him. And that, to me, when evil people are trying to attack you in every single way possible, that to me is like the greatest endorsement.
Yeah.
The fact that they are so terrified of this man getting in office again. But here's where I am going to just share some of my caution about this. If Trump wins in 2024, if they allow him to win, what are they going to do once he's in office? Are they going to try and collapse our country under him so that they can blame him?
That's what they did last time.
I'm beginning to think that maybe they're going to allow him to win so that they can do that. And so they can point the blame at him instead of pointing it at Biden or pointing it at Democrats. They can say, see, this happened under Trump, just like how they did it with the pandemic. They blamed him for every single death.
Every death was his fault.
What more could he have done?
Everyone was his fault.
They were like, someone's missing at your dinner table because of Trump.
Yep.
Like, it was ridiculous.
And it was all MAGA voters. It's all your fault. Yep.
Yes. So I feel like it's damned if you do, damned if you don't now. And that's why our overarching message is to get prepared.
Yeah.
And to stay connected with those of us that stay connected with everyone that you know that is getting prepared. There's going to be a time when we're going to be even more censored. I just got severely censored on Instagram. Like I said, I gained 100,000 followers in 3 months, and now I'm losing like 100, 200 followers a day because they shut me down, right? And so make sure that we have ways of connecting with each other that are outside of social media. Like, I would hate to lose contact with everyone that I've met and built relationships with online because they shut us down. So let's make sure we have backups. I'm going to try and send out a mailing list or something like that. I don't know. Maybe you guys can give me some ideas on what to do. But yeah, make sure we're still connected, because this is how we get the news. We are so severely censored all the time. Imagine if we only had the mainstream news during COVID. Where would we all be at right now? You know? And so we have to make sure that we're still finding ways to share the truth, because they're going to shut us down even more. And like I said, it's going to be a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation with Trump. I think the gears are rolling to really collapse this country. So this last 3 years, the people that are coming into our country, that are crossing the border, it's completely changed. It's no longer, it used to be majority Mexicans coming into our country. It's now not majority Mexicans anymore. If you look up statistics right now on the people that are entering into this country, it's now Mexicans are the minority. And now it's majority. Yeah, it's never been like that.
Decades.
Yes,
decades. It's always been Mexicans. I'm Mexican. I'm from California. I mean, it's always been Mexicans.
And the thing is, we know Mexicans. Like, I was born and raised in California.
Yeah, raised in California. Like, we miss the Mexican food. We're here in Florida.
And there's certain cultures that mesh well with our country than others. So now we have a bunch of Haitians coming over.
It's different, guys.
That culture, culture is so important. America. Like, if it was a bunch of Nigerians, I'd be like, sure. Like, okay, let's Nigerians collapse. Let's bring Nigerians over.
Yeah, because Nigerians actually have a very high education level.
They are.
They make more per capita than white people in America. They're not letting a bunch of Nigerians in. They're like letting in Venezuelan gangs and Haitians, which.
So the last 3 years, this is also something that's not been publicized by the Biden administration, is the last 3 years, Venezuelans that entered into our country illegally, they crossed into the border, they snuck in. Biden gave them a pathway to become legal, 500,000 Venezuelans to become legal. You guys can look this up, fact check it. So people that entered into this country illegally, if they were Venezuelan, they could apply to this program and become legal and get legal status. So what kind of message did that send to Venezuela? To the people in Venezuela, come to America, sneak in, and eventually Biden will make you legal. Don't worry about it. Come here, because he made 500,000 legal. And then he also has another program where he was bringing in 30,000 of them every single month legally. And that was part of the flying program. And there's an app where you can now apply for what's that word? Asylum. You can apply for asylum on an app now. And your case to hear your asylum case doesn't matter. Like, these people, they're just claiming whatever. And first of all, like Trump said, these countries are
it's a joke.
S-holes, right?
Like 90% of people don't show up.
They all have some sort of excuse. It's extreme poverty. That's my excuse to come to America. We can't take in every person that's experiencing extreme poverty into America, because then we're going to become extreme poverty. So we're in a very...
They're trying... Literally, the people who run this country are literally trying to collapse it.
Yes.
Like, that is how dangerous of a situation we're in. Like,
really,
when you watch Contagion, they wanted it to get that bad.
Yeah, they did.
That is what really freaked me out.
But we stopped it because we didn't fall for it. There was too many Americans that didn't fall for it. There's too many of us that didn't stay in our homes, that didn't go and participate in all of that. And that's the problem, is the American people are strong and they want to break us down. And that's why they're going after the younger generation and creating, and that's exactly what they did in communist China. If you learn how communist China became what it is, they went after the young people. And so you weren't allowed to, in communist China, they allow Christianity, but you're not allowed to baptize young people.
Oh.
Yeah. Woo. So you're not allowed to bring in new.
So they'll just wait until the generation dies out. And the young people
are getting super atheist messages in the schools. And so that turns young people against the older people. And that's what they're trying to do right now. I have never seen a generation of young people that are so mean towards elderly as Gen Z and Generation Alpha.
Whew.
We weren't like that. I'm a millennial. I'm a 1982 millennial. I had respect for older people, especially Generation X. Like, you guys are the coolest people on the planet. All right. You guys have the best music, best clothes, coolest,
70s,
exactly. Boomers,
60s,
you guys are like the mega capitalists. You guys make it so that we don't have to use MapQuest anymore. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but here's the thing, like, this new generation, they do not like older generations. They're sowing all of this discord between them. So how easy will it be for them to sign off? If they're willing to sign off on mass genocide of babies through abortion, they're going to be willing to sign off for let's just screw all these older generations.
I see so much hatred. Like, there's people on social media like, oh, boomers, I don't like boomers. I see so much hatred like that, and it's like, bro,
First of all, they don't even know what a boomer is, because I've been called a boomer, and I'm a millennial. That's like 2 generations above me. Like, come on, guys, figure it out.
Yeah, they have no idea what they're talking about. Yeah,
but they have this disdain. Like, I've had these comments where it's like, I can't wait till your generation dies out and we can have our socialist utopia. And I've had this from like young Black girls that have been brainwashed into
if we don't unindoctrinate the next generation, that is what's going to happen.
Yes. Yes.
Because they are all far left. So get ready.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And the thing is, like, okay, put it this way. When the Great Depression happened, which, if you know history, you know that was a government thing. We made that happen. Like, rich people got way richer from that. But if you were in the country during those days, and you were on a farm and you were growing your own food, there's news, there's like recording, records, I should say, of people who didn't even know the Great Depression was happening.
Yeah, because back then there was no social media.
There was no, they were out in the country. They were like,
there was no Wi-Fi. There was no
we feed ourselves on our farm, and I'm doing fine. I don't know what you're talking about. And they didn't even know what was happening. So that is. We know, as Christians, I believe that the time is coming when you're not going to be able to buy or sell one way or another. And they are clearly trying to collapse the dollar, which would collapse our economy, which would make it so good luck when you go to the grocery store. Get ready. Mm-hmm. Get ready. That's we'll end it with that.
Yeah.
That's my advice to you. Learn how to grow your own food. Get a garden if you can. Go get into the country.
But I want to leave you guys with some hope. And I'm going to say that the kids that aren't into all of this,
read your Bible for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. The ones that aren't getting super brainwashed into leftism, the kids that know the truth, they're very strong.
Oh,
I know that a lot of your children too are getting the truth, and they're strong. They're not going to switch over and become some crazy leftist. Like, they are solid in the truth, and they are going to stand up for this country. We just need more of them. And we need to make sure that they are armed with the counter arguments to all of this. So yeah, I these kids that I'm meeting and the kids in our school, they are very just solid in the truth, way more than I was when I was young. I was just like, I didn't care about what was going on in our country. I was just like, I was selling chocolate bars, eating them myself.
Great comment. Says this Gen X here. Sorry about 80s pop.
Yeah.
Collie disagrees. Collie is an
like
80s. She loves 80s music. So that's a great comment. You guys have had great comments, by the way.
Yes, great comments.
We'll share those.
But just know that there is a generation of young people. They're small. It's a smaller percentage, but they're very solid in the truth, and they know they love this country and they want to fight for this country, and that's beautiful. But we have to make sure that we are countering the indoctrination that's happening for our nation's children. And I think that's good for our live today. I mean, we had almost over 400 people tuning in through this live. So thank you so much for showing up. We'll do this more. Go through like what's going on in the world. I feel like that's kind of missing right now in conservative world. I feel like there's a lot of just reaction videos to leftists, and we need to really discuss what's actually going on in current events. And I've been censored so much lately that I feel like I need to just start doing lives just to get everything out. And hopefully it kind of slips past their radar. But this is my husband, Joshua, by the way.
Yeah, give me a follow.
Book.
Don't forget to go get a copy.
Yeah, I'll post a link to our book in a community post on Actually, I think it's there now on a community post on my YouTube. And you can get a link to the book. It's a funny book. So good sense of humor, make you laugh. God bless you guys. If anyone wants to send super chats or anything like that, that's great, because none of my stuff is monetized. So that is really nice when you guys can support my voice in our school.
Check out our school, Young Patriots
God
Academy.
bless you guys. And thank you so much for being here with this live. And we'll see you next time.
God bless.
And you have to end the one.